What would you say was your biggest hurdle and struggle to starting UGC?
First, it was my age. You just see so many content creators again that are young,
Yeah.
20s and 30s. You don't see a whole lot of creators that are older. For me, that was like, oh, can I do it? I'm not sure. Does anybody want to work with me? And then the
Okay.
technology part.
Hello, Eileen. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is a pleasure to have you, and we are going to have such a fun conversation. I just know it. How are you doing today?
Hi, Arbel. I am so excited. I'm excited that someone wants to listen to what I have to say. I think this is so amazing and cool. I've never been on a podcast, so this is a highlight. This is a highlight. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. When I was thinking about who I wanted to interview next, I was like, you know what? I am noticing so many UGC creators that are coming onto the scene that are not millennials. They're on the, Gen X
Mhm.
side. And then I
Mhm.
was like, wait, Eileen was one of the first. So before we
Yes.
kind of get into all of that, I want to know, how did you get involved with UGC to begin with?
Okay, here's my story. So I worked in insurance for 28 years, long
Oh,
time.
wow. Yeah.
And insurance is not the most exciting job, but it provided for my family. And that's what I needed at the time. Well, towards the end, towards like COVID time, the culture of the company kind of changed and it was very stressful. It became very stressful, very overwhelming. They were demanding a lot more from their employees. Um, a lot was going on, and it was just sucking the soul out of me. I just
I
was
bet.
so unhappy. And I would cry, literally, I would
Oh,
cry. I would have like knots in my, I would just be so stressed out. And my husband saw that, and he saw that I was so unhappy. I was also teaching online, very part-time, a few hours a week, kids online, teaching how to read.
oh
And so
yeah. I've heard of those programs.
yeah, I love that. I felt such joy, and my husband saw that. So he said, why don't you quit your job? We're okay financially and try to do the online teaching full time. And so
Wow.
that was very difficult for me. It's hard to leave a job that is stable and,
Yes.
it's secure and that you've had for 28 years. I mean, so it
Wow.
was difficult for me, but my husband encouraged me. He said, "Let's just do it. We're okay." And so he was standing right next to me when, we were still working from home because of COVID, and he was standing next to me. And when I hit that, that resignation email and I hit that
Oh,
send, it was so like, oh my gosh, oh
oh.
my gosh, oh my gosh, it was
Am
kind
I
of like
doing the right
that.
thing?
Yeah, we're doing,
Yeah.
and so so I quit, and then I started doing the online teaching, and I tried to do it full time, and I wasn't getting as much as I wanted from that. So one of the online teachers that I followed that was kind of an online friend, she started talking about UGC back in
Oh,
2022 in April. And so she kept talking about it, and I kind of just dismissed it and nope, I don't know what this is, and whatever. Uh but she kept talking about it and saying, "Oh, this is so awesome. I love it. This is what it is." So I talked to her, and she told me all about UGC. So then I said, "Can I do this? Is this something that I can do? I don't know. I'm older." When you think of content creation, you think of 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. You
yep.
don't think of 50 or 60-year-olds. And I was at the time 54. But I said, I'm going to try it because I was still doing online teaching. And then I said, I'm going to go ahead and try it because I had time,
Oh,
to dive
yeah.
into UGC. So I started doing that, and wow, I loved it. And people wanted to work with me despite my age. And I came to realize that UGC needs all kinds of people, all ages, all genders, everyone. And
Yep.
so with me, my superpower is my age because what people that are my age, what older content creators, Gen X, bring to the table, a 20-year-old cannot, a
Yep.
30-year-old cannot. So
Yep.
a lot of what I do is, a lot of it is has to do with my age, menopause,
Right. Right.
joint supplements, anti-aging, but a lot does not. I do UGC with my pets. I do UGC for apps. I do
Nice.
UGC for all kinds of things. So it's not always related to my age, but a lot
Right.
of it is because they cannot find content creators that are older and they need
Right.
us. They need us. And
Right.
so I get a lot of work because of my age. So I loved it.
Wow.
And so
So
now,
great.
so I stopped online teaching and I do UGC. I say it's full time. Really, it's more of it's part time with a full time income because I make good money even just working full time, even just working part time.
That's
So I love it.
amazing.
It is
That's
so
amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
Were you
Hmm.
working from home during that time, or with COVID, you started working from home?
Yeah, so I was working in an office
Oh, okay.
in a cubicle, which I feel like is the like the symbol of being like stuck, you know? I worked
Yeah.
in a cubicle all those years except for the 2 years that I worked from home towards the end because of COVID, then I was working from home. But it was I thought, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to work from home. This is a dream. I love it." But
Yeah.
it was like the worst because
Really?
they were very micromanaging us because we were working from home, and
Oh,
that's when it really became really difficult to work for that particular company. But prior to that, I would go into the office every day and work from a cubicle, and I'm like, now that I work at doing UGC, I think, gosh, how did I do it? How did I?
how did you
But I didn't.
do
Yeah,
it?
but I didn't know any better, right? That was just a
Right.
job that I just did it.
You were
I just did
used
it.
to, you were
I was
doing
used
it.
to it. I knew
Yeah.
nothing else. But
So
now
you
that
felt
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
But now that I have experienced, the freedom that UGC brings, that I can work with different people, different brands on my own time, um, do my own schedule. I don't have to ask anybody for permission to go to a doctor's appointment or run an
It's
errand.
amazing.
I know it is such a beautiful, I love it. I just love it so
Yeah.
much. And also, I'm a better mom, a better wife because I'm so much happier, and
Happier.
I know my kids and my husband see that in me as well. I
That's
love it so much.
amazing. I
Mhm.
love that, and I completely agree with you. I did wanna ask though, when you went to work from home, you said it was worse. So at that point, that's when your husband could really see how miserable you were, because obviously when you're working, somewhere else, your
Yeah,
spouse, your family, they don't see that. They just see the aftermath when you come home.
correct.
So
Yes.
when you were working from home is when he could really see, like, that looks really
Oh,
boring, or
yeah.
do you feel like going and teaching online kind of prepared you for a UGC career? What were the pivotal steps other than your friend telling you about this opportunity that you were like, I could do this. I could do
Mhm.
UGC?
Well, I think working, teaching online, I was already just like I am with you. It would be just like this, one-on-one. I was just teaching, kids how to speak English.
Yeah.
And I think that might have prepared because then I got kind of comfortable on camera.
Okay.
But um, I feel like seeing other people like this particular online teacher, my friend, who's, oh, she could do it. And UGC is new to her and she's doing well and she's killing it. That gave, when I see other people, that gave me like, I think I could do it too, you know?
Oh,
And so I
yeah.
think that's why I jumped in because her name was Sarah. And I said, well, if Sarah can do it, I think I can do it too, because she's never done UGC before. And she learned how to do it and she was doing really good and loved it. So
I
that gave
love
me like
that.
that little push to
Yes,
to
and
do it.
that's
Yeah.
actually exactly why I wanted to talk with you and show other, older, the 50s, the 60s, even
Yes.
70s,
Even
that there
70s.
is room for that age group
Yes.
in UGC. I have so
Yes.
many of my students inside of the Fiverr profit system, inside of the freelance big sis community, where they're just like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm getting the confidence to do it because I've seen so and so do it as
Mhm.
well. And now they're joining in and they're realizing this kind of freedom like you have, and just the
Mhm.
creativity and the
Yes.
fact that brands need older creators, and
Mhm.
creators that not only can talk about the products that you were talking about, but just are a mature audience. Like, you want to
Yes.
attract a mature audience, you need a mature creator to get
Correct.
that audience in. So
Yes.
I absolutely love that, and I love seeing the confidence to do it, because it is hard. It really is overwhelming. What would you say was your biggest hurdle and struggle to starting UGC?
So for me, first it was my age because, like I said, I didn't know, because you just see so many content creators again that are young,
Yeah.
20s and 30s. You don't see a whole lot of creators that are older, and
Yep.
that really. I would that for me, that was like, well, can I do it? I'm not sure. Does anybody want to work with me? And that, and then the
Okay.
technology part, I am the least techie person you will ever meet. You can ask my husband, my kids, I am the least techie, but you can learn. And when I started Arbella, I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing about filming. I knew nothing about editing. I knew nothing about hooks and body and call to actions and
Right.
nothing, zero. Like literally, I started from scratch. And
Wow.
but I learned,
Yes.
and I feel like UGC is it's doable. Yes, it's overwhelming. It is a lot at first. But there's so many, like, so many courses, like, your course, and TikToks and YouTubes that teach and learn, and you can get a lot of free um tutorials to help you.
Yes.
There's a lot of free, and you can buy guides and you can buy courses like yours and all. And you can learn, and it is so doable. And I learned, and I am the least techie person. I learned how to use CapCut. I think you use InShot. Do you use
I'm
InShot?
now I originally was using InShot, but I'm moving more towards CapCut now because it is
Okay.
superior.
Oh, is it? Okay. So
Yeah, yeah.
I have always used CapCut, and literally, when you're on CapCut, yes, like you said, everything's going to be like anything you learn
Anything.
that's brand
Anything.
new is going to be overwhelming. But
Yes.
UGC it's so doable. You can
Yeah.
learn quickly and easily. Once you get 3 or 4 videos out and you use CapCut and use or whatever editing software, then okay, I got this. I know how to do it. Um, but for me, I was just fearful. It was just fear. Fear is just, I think fear for a
It's
lot of people,
debilitating.
it is debilitating. If you can take fear out of the equation,
Yep.
wow, you can accomplish so much. And I think once I took, I'm not going to care about what people think. I don't care if anyone sees my
Yes.
ads. I don't care. I'm going to dive in and I'm going to learn everything. And I did, and I learned everything. And yes, like we said, it's overwhelming at first, but it is so doable. UGC is something that anybody can learn. People in their 50s and 60s can learn. And once you get the, 3 or 4 videos out, then you're an expert, and then you got it. And then you
You
you just
you
get on
you
that.
exactly. You
Mhm.
learn as you grow. And that's actually
Yes.
funny. You were saying about fear, and it reminded me. So my 6-year-old, we just had her ears pierced. And my older sister, her auntie, who is obsessed with her, they love each other so much. And she says, Alice, do you want to get your ears pierced? And I'm like, Alice, it's going to hurt. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna
No.
force this. Is your body. You need to make that
Yes.
decision for your body. That's why I didn't do it as a baby. And so I said, it's going to hurt. So it took her a couple months. And mommy, how much is it going to hurt? I'm like, it's going to hurt. How much? Okay, it's going to hurt. So the day comes and she looks at me and she's just tears in her eyes. And I said, listen, I'm not going to force you. This is your body, your decision. It is
Mhm.
going to hurt, but then you're going to have beautiful earrings because all her classmates have earrings, right? And so
Oh.
they're all like really excited. And she like is dying to be one of the girls that have earrings. Even at 6, we're already at that point. She's
Yes.
like, come on. And so she's, and she's like, okay, I'm going to do it. And she's one of those, it takes her quite a while to get over the fear. Like she's
Mhm.
pretty sensitive. She's on the sensitive side. She's not my 3-year-old who's fearless and brave, which is fine. We're all
Yes.
different fears that take longer and some take shorter to
Yes.
overcome. But it was so funny because we're at the pier. We went to an actual body piercer, like a professional body piercer. And she sat there. She was like, okay, I'm ready. Boom, she gets the first piercing. Screaming her head off, and I'm
Oh,
like dying
no.
inside. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? Why did I do this? Now I have to convince her to get the second one. And now we're like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And she's like, I can't do this. I said, Baba, listen, you're going to do this. It's going to boom, boom. And then you're
Mhm.
going to have earrings for the
You're
rest of your life.
Mhm.
Done.
Mhm.
She came out on the other side. All that came out on the other side. And she's like, okay. And looks at hers. And now she looks at the mirror and she's so happy with her earrings.
Mm.
And it just solidified, like literally seeing it in a kid that age with a physical pain is
Yes.
so true for
Yeah.
any age. And, mentally, just that fear, it can be a really strong fear. It may not be physical, but it is a fear to do something that you're not
Mhm.
familiar with. You don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
But knowing that if you do take that opportunity and you just like take the shot, take the needle, just take that
Mhm,
one time. And now you
mhm.
can come out on the other side and it truly can be life changing.
It's
If you
life-changing. Mhm,
just get over that, and it's for any age, you just get
mhm.
over that initial fear. It may be a shock, it may be a little bit of discomfort in the first couple of weeks, but then all of a sudden you're on the other side and you're like, hey, that actually
Yeah.
wasn't so bad.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah,
it
if you can
hurt, it
just
was tough,
yes.
you
Mhm,
know? So it's just really interesting how we all kind of play tricks in our head, and
yes.
it's that self-doubt, and I've talked about that on TikTok. It's that
Mhm.
self-doubt that just takes over every single one of us. I don't care
Yep.
how successful you are. I don't care how big you are. We all have self-doubt, but if we can just put ourselves in this and say, "You know what you did. I'm just going to go all in. I'm going to really give this my all, and if it doesn't work,
Mhm.
it doesn't work." And I'm just
Exactly.
going to give it my all, but it most likely will, because
Yes.
usually when you give it your all, it
Yes.
usually works out,
It
right?
works out. Yeah. You
And
just
I
need
just
to take that jump. Take that jump.
exactly. You
Yes.
need to take that jump. There are so many opportunities now that are all over us, and I feel like we do get overwhelmed with the amount of opportunities. Which one do we go with first? When
Yes.
you heard about UGC, what were some of the other, if you could remember, what were some of the other opportunities that you heard about at that time that you kind of were like, well, maybe let me try all these others, but let me try UGC. Like, were there other opportunities that came to you at that time?
So really, I was working only at doing the online teaching, but I saw like affiliate marketing. You see, like you said,
Yes.
so many
Yes.
different opportunities, and you wonder which one is right for me and which one will make me. And I'm not, I don't love money. I just, but I want to provide for my family. I want to live comfortably. It's not like,
Right.
I need to make all this money or whatever, but I
Yeah.
just wanted something that would provide for my family that I can live comfortably. And so I was doing like the online teaching, but I did see like affiliate marketing, and I think that was a lot of on
That
my
was the
like
biggest
on
thing.
when I saw the I completely started from scratch. So think that's
Exactly.
really important when you see others, when you see other
Yes.
people, other examples. Yeah, that makes a huge difference.
So
So
now that we're going into 2 years, and actually you and I started around the same time. I started in 2022 as well. Who have you worked with? Have you worked with some big name brands? What are some projects that you are just like, I cannot believe I worked with that brand?
So I've worked with tons of brands and a lot of like smaller brands, bigger brands, but I've worked with Dove and I'm continuing to work with Dove. Yeah, I worked on one of their
Wow.
products that they just launched this year. They haven't, or they're going to launch this year, and continuing to work with them on some other products. I thought, oh my gosh, when you see a product that that you see on TV or that you
Oh
see
my
at the market
god,
and stuff, that's
huge.
huge. You're like, oh my gosh, that's
Huge.
so
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Yeah. So
That
I
is a
worked with
household
Dove.
name.
Yes, I worked with them and I'm still working with them. They're sending me some new projects to work on. And then I've worked with all detergent, so I did that. I've worked with a shoe brand and I've worked with apps, and like I said, with my pets, with dog, my two Golden Doodles. Just such a variety of different brands and
Big and small.
agencies, big and small. And then also I thought it was kind of cool. There's an app that was just launching, and they had me do one UGC video, and I did it. And I even did it for lower than my regular rate because I love the app. So I said, okay, well, I'll just, it's just one UGC. They came back and they liked me so much that they asked me to do a 7-lesson course on their app. So I was able
Oh,
to, yes, I thought that was kind of cool. So I'll be on their app and I'll be teaching like a lesson on
oh
one
my
on
god.
childhood. Yes, I thought that was kind of cool. And so I did that. I did a 7-lesson plan on their app, and then they came back and they want me to do additional like daily, what do they call it? Like little daily snippets, I guess, that they put on their app that people can you know look at the app and kind of like do a daily
Okay.
motivational kind of thing. So I'm doing
Okay.
that for them as well. So sometimes one project leads to like all these
Yes.
other projects, if they like you. So
Yes.
I always give it my best. With whether the project is huge or small, whether they bought just one video or a package video,
Exactly.
always give it your best because it can lead to other projects. It can lead to bigger
Exactly.
projects.
And
Hmm.
more work.
And
Would
more work.
where did you get Dove from? So I know you're on Fiverr with
Hmm.
me and you're doing all of
Yes.
that, but you're
Yes.
also outbound. So tell me where you get a lot of your jobs.
So being active on Twitter. So for
Okay.
me, yeah, so Twitter, posting my work, just engaging. A lot of the brands and agencies post on there looking for creators and stuff, so I'll respond to that. Most from Twitter
Okay.
and Fiverr. Those are the two. I don't think really TikTok or Instagram. Dove found me on Twitter. I don't know
Okay.
how or what. They didn't post anything on Twitter. They watch engagement, even though,
Uh,
yeah, even though they don't post or respond to maybe what you've posted, brands are watching. They're watching and they're looking and they're checking out, the creators and what they respond and their work. So I always
that's
try to
great to
post my
know.
work, yeah, on Twitter or post my work on TikTok and on Instagram wherever I can. So yeah, so that's more work in that Fiverr, and then they look for you, right? And they see you and they like what they see, then you're able to secure the gig
Okay.
on Fiverr. So I like
That's
that
right.
because you don't have to you don't have to like be searching
Do
for
anything.
brands or respond. You don't do anything. You just kind of wait, and then I get a lot of work from Fiverr that way. Yeah.
Do you feel the work that you get from Twitter versus Fiverr is similar in the sense of quality and price?
No, not with price. So with Twitter, they'll purchase my packages that are on my portfolio. With Fiverr, it's more one-offs on Fiverr for me. Although I have had brands come back, after a month or two and come back for another one and come back for another one, every few months. So it's
Sure.
like a consistent, yeah, it's a consistent kind of thing. They just don't purchase a bundle, for example. So
Right.
it's very different. Yeah. So for example, on Twitter, a brand might reach out to me and say, "Hey, I want to get package number one." So that might be like
Oh,
one video with three hooks. So that's one package. Whereas
okay.
Fiverr, it's more like not one offs. I don't know if that's the right
No, no,
word,
no,
but
you're right, you're right. It's
yeah,
just one
yeah,
video, I just want this
yeah,
one video and done.
yes. And then next month they come back again. They'll, "Hey, can you do another video
Okay.
for me?" And another video. I get a lot of
Nice.
repeat customers, is what I'm trying to say
I
on
love
Fiverr.
that you do both because like you said, the Twitter takes a little bit more effort on your part where you have to then post your
Hmm.
work. You need to kind of show that live portfolio on Twitter, but you're
Yes.
still advertising yourself to so
Hmm.
many people and brands and opportunities that is
Hmm.
such a great avenue to work
Hmm.
with. And then you have the Fiverr, so you really have the best of both
Best of
worlds.
both worlds. I
You
love it.
know,
Yes,
and I always say,
absolutely.
like, a lot of times people are like, "Well, you're the Fiverr girl, so you must hate Upwork or Joy," and I don't hate any of them. Like,
Yeah.
get work wherever you can, you know what I
Yes,
mean? This is
exactly.
like I've said at the beginning, there are so many opportunities, and it just depends on where you wanna be, where you wanna put your time and your effort. So, I love
Exactly.
Fiverr in the sense that I could work on all of my other projects. I can do content creation, I could be with my kids, I
Yep.
could do all of these other things where I just set up a gig and now leads come in. But if I really wanted to put myself out there and get even more work with UGC,
Mhm.
getting
You
on Twitter, getting on Join
yes.
Brand, getting on all of these other
All
platforms is
mhm.
just it's literally getting the best of both worlds. Is that kind of the biggest con with Twitter is that there's more effort over time? Like, what would you say the biggest cons for both are?
I think with Fiverr, it's more I've raised my prices, but initially, you kind of have to price a little low, like you said, and then until you get those five-star reviews. So, you start off kind of low and then you kind of build. So just that, I mean, that's not even really a big deal
Yeah.
because that's just you're starting a new platform. So of course you're gonna kind of start at the bottom and then you work your way up and then you can start charging what you normally charge. And then, yeah, with Twitter, it's just being active. I'm always kind of on my phone, like checking to see, like, oh, did anybody post anything or any brands? You're always kind of
Okay.
looking
Okay.
and trying to engage. So that's more work in that sense. My husband or my kids are like, "Mom, get off your phone." I'm like, "I'm working. I'm working because I'm trying to like, text, oh, I'm interested in this or whatever, or posting my portfolio
Right,
work and
right.
stuff." So
Because you have to be one of the first, right, to reply
yes.
to a brand? Okay,
I know,
okay.
because sometimes a brand will post and then, I'll get to it because I'm working. I get to it late and it's like 5 hours later. And by that time, there's like 150 people that have responded. So I'm like,
Oh, okay.
forget it. They're not even going to look at me. So I don't even,
Oh,
I
okay.
don't even.
That's really good to know because you're gonna have people who wanna have a social media presence,
Hmm.
which is that Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and then you're gonna wanna have people who just wanna have something passive coming in, but like you said,
Yes.
you're gonna have to start off low.
Okay.
So you started in 22 on Twitter. When did you add Fiverr to the mix for UGC?
So I added Fiverr in February of 2023 using your guide. I went through the course, and within 2 days of going live on Fiverr, I secured a gig in 2 days. And I remember on your Facebook page, I think you had said, "Hey, let's check out your intro videos, and we can kind of do a little audit on that."
Oh
And so I did
yeah.
my intro video, and you liked it, and you had said, "Oh, I think you're gonna get something really quick." And I did in 2 days. In 2 days implementing your guide, I was able to secure a gig in 2 days. And I think
Wow.
and I've heard, like, other people, like, on Twitter, that I think that kind of try to do it on their own. You know, people will post, "Oh, I haven't been able to secure a gig on Fiverr yet. It's been 2 months or 3 months." Well, I think it's because they're not implementing the right what needs to be implemented to get
Yep.
those gigs and to attract. So, but using yeah, so it's been a year,
That's
and I went through, yeah,
crazy.
your course, and I was able to secure a gig in 2 days, and I was, like,
That's
so excited.
amazing.
I was so excited. And I remember I posted that on your Facebook group page, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it." So,
I
yeah,
remember
that was
that.
really
I
neat.
do. I
Yeah.
do remember that, and I was like, "Woo!"
Yeah, and then you're like,
W
"I knew you were gonna do I knew it, I
Oh,
knew it."
yeah, that's
Yeah,
right, that's right.
I know,
I
that was
usually
fun.
it's funny because I really can tell, like, I'll see people's gigs and I'll see
Mhm,
their intro video and I'm just like, "You got it." Like, "You
mhm.
got it," and then it usually within a couple days, a couple weeks, all of a sudden
They get it.
they get an order or whatever and things just start
Yes.
rolling. What
Yep.
did you price yourself at the very beginning? Do you remember what you were charging on Fiverr in the very beginning?
It was I think it was just like the 3 pack, like
Yeah.
you price 3, yeah, I think it was like 50, 75, and 100?
Okay.
The first gigs were like the $50
Yes.
gig, yeah,
At,
which
like
is
for, like,
fine.
15 seconds, for, like, a
Yeah, for like
15-second video,
15
right?
seconds, or the $75 for like the 30-second.
Okay.
And that's usually UGC. Usually UGC is usually 15 to 30 seconds. It's in that range.
Right.
But sometimes they do request, 45 seconds or a minute, depending on
Right.
what it is. But typically a UGC video is 15 to 30 seconds, or at least those are the gigs that I
Same.
get. Yeah.
Yeah,
hmm
same, same.
That's
Where are
like
you at
the
now?
sweet spot.
Yeah. Where are you at now in terms of pricing on Fiverr a year later?
I think it's 100, 150, and 200. I think that's what I
100,
have.
150, 200.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
that's awesome.
what I like about Fiverr, you don't have to search for brands. You don't have to pitch. I
Right.
love that with Fiverr, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
They find you, and if they
yeah,
like you, they can communicate with you even prior to securing a gig, just to make sure, are you okay with this product? Almost kind of like they're not pitching you, but they're just I like the communication on Fiverr with brands
yes.
and with
Yeah,
agencies, and I like that you can just sit and you can just wait for those brands to look for you and search for you and like you. And I think that takes the stress out. That takes the stress out
yes.
of,
Yeah.
so I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, actively looking. I actually recently joined Incense. Well, I've been on
Mm.
Inc have you heard of Incense?
Yes, I'm on there too.
Yeah, so I was on there for a while, but again, you have to do that where you're looking for projects, you're looking for campaigns, and then you can like
Yes.
bid for it and whatever.
Yeah.
And I never accepted any UGC deals because they were priced so low. Like it
Yes.
was like $100 and you had to give raw footage, commercial. I mean,
Tons.
oh my God, all
Yes.
this stuff.
Oh my
And I'm like,
gosh.
why is everybody
What?
complaining that Fiverr's so cheap? Because these people
Yeah.
are saying $100 and you're giving them
Yes.
everything. Like we're talking
Yes.
about 15 seconds for $50 for like literally just the video, no
Yes.
commercial rights, no nothing. Like that's a bare
Mhm.
bones video. And so
Yeah.
anyway, I started doing TikTok shop videos as an
Mhm.
affiliate and I got a TikTok shop campaign through Incense. So instead of doing a free TikTok shop product, I got a campaign on Incense to get paid to do a TikTok.
Wow.
Yes, and so I got like
Interesting.
$100 instead of a free campaign for TikTok Shop. So it's UGC, but it's not obviously, but it's in
Yes.
the same realm when it comes down to
Yes.
editing and all of that.
Right.
And so I got and then all of a sudden I didn't even look at the brief. I just was excited to now get paid for something I was doing for free.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now all of a sudden I have to deliver 365-day ad usage, the raw
Oh.
file, so they can take that video now
Oh.
and use it on their
Yes.
channel.
Yes.
And I have to what was the other thing? I think I need to share it again on I can't remember something else, another deliverable. And I feel like and that's kind of the confusing thing because I didn't know better and that was something new for me, right? Because I'm so used to working on Fiverr. And
Mhm.
that's really where you need to really do a little bit of research before you
Yes.
start accepting. And that's also why being in a community where instead of you actively trying to find the answer to something that you don't even know what to ask,
Mhm.
you're now in a community like my Freelance Big Sis community where you can go
Yes.
in and say, hey, this brand wants me to do XYZ. Is this price
Mhm.
even fair? Because
Yes.
if I would have posted that in the group and said, hey, I'm going to do $100 TikTok shop video and I'm going to be, they'd be like, no, don't
No
take that.
way. Yeah. It's
They're
nice to
literally
have that
robbing from you.
yeah, have that feedback from other people and or have the
Right.
feedback from more experienced people who understand and know. It's nice to have
Right.
that community. Yeah, to be a
Yes.
part of that
Yes.
community and to ask. Yeah.
Exactly.
Asking you have to ask questions because a lot of times you don't understand the delivery. And so I've
Yes.
learned to ask questions, lots of questions. I over communicate because I want to understand
Yes.
the requirements are. What are you expecting from me? And then in the end, I'll say to confirm, and then I will list what it is that they want just to make sure we are on the same page. Another thing that I like to do is when I create UGC, I like to do the script and the shot list and send it over before I start filming just to
Yes.
make sure that we are on the same page, just to make sure I've touched on all the points they want me to touch, make it very clear. I like to do that. Saves
Yes.
time for me because when I started, I didn't do any of that. I just went off their brief, I did it, and sometimes they weren't okay, this isn't really what we wanted, or can you add this or that? And it created more work. But
Yes.
sending a script with a shot list and getting their approval, does this look good? Sometimes like, oh, can you add this or that? And then I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad that I sent that because I wouldn't have put
Yes.
that. And then I would have had to refilm or whatever, or add that in. It's hard to add, like for me too, like if there's a revision or anything. Okay, my hair looks different every single day of the week.
Right?
If I'm the day and then they need me to add something, my hair
You
looks
have to do
totally
the whole
different. I'm
thing
like,
again.
yes.
100%. You're not the only one. You have to do the
I'm
whole
like,
thing
I
again.
look totally, you can literally tell this is a different day. I'm like, that looks horrible. So you got to do it all over again. So it's
Yep.
always so much nicer. So funny, huh? See, that's little
I've
things
s
that people, if you're new, you don't know that and you don't
You don't
realize.
know.
But
Yeah.
no, you don't know. So I really love to write out my script, do my shot list and get approval before I start filming so that there's no revision or at least less revisions so that we are on the same page. So I always make sure I do that. I've learned to do that.
Exactly. Exactly. And when you're first starting, it's trial and error. But if you
Yeah.
find a community or you find a course like you were saying that kind of
Mhm.
now you're speeding up instead of taking you a year to learn these
Yes.
things, you're going to learn them in a month.
Yes.
But that's
Yes.
actually why I created my UGC production course
Mhm.
because so many people were coming on. What are usages? What kind of deliverables? How do I communicate with the brand? How do I
Mhm.
record the video in a way that like I don't need to buy all this expensive lights and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I created a UGC production course and in it has my storyboard template, which is exactly what you're talking about. Your
Exactly.
script and your
Yes.
shot list. Because if
Yes.
not, you're getting revisions that, like you said, if you're gonna everyone looks different the next day. It's
Yes.
impossible
It's
to
impossible.
match the tone, and now
The
you're spending
lighting,
more
everything. Yeah. Yep.
forget it. And now you're spending more time, more money when you could be working on another
Yes.
project or another. So tell me
Perfect.
what, because I know the Fiverr like run through, right? A brand contacts you, you send them a quote, you send them a custom offer, you start the order, you get paid on Fiverr. You don't have to worry about contracts. Boom, it's done, right? What
Yes.
is the process working outside on Twitter? Because I actually don't know at all. So I would love, like, what is from
Ah.
beginning to end? What is the process working with brands outside of Fiverr?
So if a brand found me on Twitter, um, they will reach out. They're like, "Hey, we think you'd be a good fit for such and such product. This is what we want." And so they'll say one video with two hooks, all usage rights, and whatever it is. And so I respond. First, I look at the brand or the product. Is this something that I've turned down things that don't align with me and things that I don't want to work on,
Of
right? So I
course.
make sure I look at their website, I look at their socials, I look at, all the things, and I kind of do a little bit of a mini research to make sure that
Yep.
this is something that I can do. I like this is something that I would actually use because I don't. It has to be authentic. It can't be
Yeah.
something, you know. I you know
Well, your face is
I
on it. Your face
my
is
face
on the
is on
brand.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for example, I don't drink. So I've been, wine companies have reached out because older people drink wine, but I
Typically,
don't do,
yeah.
yeah, but I don't drink. So I don't feel comfortable creating
Right.
UGC for a wine company. So, those types of, so I've turned that down.
Yes.
But if I like the brand, I like the product, then I will respond and I'll just say, here's my portfolio in case you need to review it. I would love to thank you for reaching out. I would love to work on this campaign with you. And then we kind of go back and forth.
Do you communicate via email or on Twitter
Yes.
still? All via email.
Once you respond on Twitter, then that brand will email me. So
Okay.
usually what the brand will say is, hey, looking for a 40 plus UGC creator for such and such brand, respond with your portfolio. And so
Okay.
I'll say, hey, I'm interested. Here's my portfolio. Sometimes if I know what UGC, what product they're looking for. So for example, if they're saying looking for a 40 plus UGC creator for an insurance app, please, respond with your portfolio. I will, so they're going to get tons of people with responding with their portfolio. I try
Uh-huh.
to look for a video that I've created that's similar to that. So I'll link my
Oh,
portfolio as well as an example of my work so that they can see, okay, well, she has experience in this niche. And then they will
okay.
respond and then they will contact me via email. Then they will let me know what the product is. They will let me know what the
The
deliverables
brief.
are. And then we just kind of go back and forth on the rate. I'll send them a rate card if they want to take a look at that, or if they want a custom order, like, hey, we want 3 videos with 2 hooks each, one body, CT, whatever it is that they want. And then we kind of just go back and forth and negotiate.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Where is your portfolio hosted? As is your rate card on your portfolio? So many people get confused about your portfolio and your rate card. Are they two different things? Are they both? Where do you host all of that? I actually don't even know either.
So that mine is just on Canva, but through Canva, I have Eileen Munoz.com. You can purchase a
Yep.
domain through Canva. So that's what I have. Honestly, when I say rate card, it's just my portfolio, but I just kind of like cut and paste the rate part of it. And that's what I just send as my rate card. I know
Oh
some
my God, I
people have,
love that.
and I know some people have like fancy rate cards and stuff. I don't. If they say, hey, can we take a look at your rate card? I just get my portfolio, cut and paste my rate and just send that over and so they can
That's
take a look at it.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's so
It's a
intimidating when you hear rate card. It's like,
no.
what is that? Is that my resume for my whole life? Like, what do they
I
want
know.
from me?
It's so
I even got
funny.
intimidated. I've had somebody email me that, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I need to do for this? Because on Fiverr, everything's just listed as it
Yes,
is. Like
everything it's so simple on Fiverr. Yeah. That's so
but
funny.
it's good to know, like I said, so you have your site on Canva, your
Yes.
portfolio, and then at the
But
very bottom, you just have your rates.
yes. And I did purchase my a domain on Canva and I think it's like $18 for the whole year. So and it
I love
makes it
Canva.
I love Canva too, but purchasing your domain is makes you look so much more professional, and it's only like
Yes,
18 bucks a year. So I really
that's
recommend
awesome.
if you have your portfolio, because I used to have like I forgot what it was, Eileen Munoz Creatives.canva.com or
Right,
whatever it was,
right.
and so it looks so much more professional when you can just purchase your domain.
Do you replace the videos that are on your portfolio frequently? Like, how often are you updating the portfolio?
The only time I do update is when I create something that's different than what I have on my portfolio. So it's adding maybe a new
Oh,
niche or a video that I think, "Oh, wow, I did a great job. I love this video. I did really good on this one. I'm going to add it to my portfolio." Or
okay,
if I get feedback from the brand, like this is amazing, we love it. Or if I know that it's doing well and it's getting a lot of views or whatever, then I'm like, okay, this is a winner. So I'm going to take maybe this one off and add on my portfolio, take this video
okay,
off and add. I think I have 20 some videos on my portfolio, so
okay,
I'll
awesome.
replace the ones at the top are the ones that are like the best of the best of my, and then I just kind
Right,
of go down.
okay.
But always put your best, of course, always put your best work on the portfolio. But I take a look at my portfolio, not a whole lot, every
Yeah,
once in a while,
every once in a
and
while.
every once in a while, yeah, to just kind of zhuzh it up a little bit and update it.
I wanna
Mhm,
ask you one more thing about the portfolio, but I wanna kinda go back to the flow because 'cause we're gonna
mhm.
finish that flow first. Because 'cause I'm
Okay.
sure viewers are like, "But wait, what's the end process?"
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So how do you
Uh,
get so now you're negotiating with the brand, they're saying, "Okay, Give me your rate card. Everything looks good. I want this package.
Mhm.
Now, what do you do from there?
Okay, so once they do that, they send me a contract. You read over your contract, make sure everything looks good, sign the contract, and upon receipt of the contract, they will usually, that's when sometimes they send the contract and a brief at the same time.
Okay.
But sometimes you sign the contract, send it in, then they send you a brief, and the brief gives you all the information, all the points that they want you to touch on in your video, what, do they want it vertically? Do they want it horizontally? How do they want it to film? And once I read through the whole thing, if I have any questions or if there's anything that's weird or I don't understand, I will I am an over communicator. I will ask questions because
I
I
love
don't
that.
want to refilm. I don't want to do revisions.
Yeah.
I want the brand and the agency to be happy on my first go, right? I
Yep.
don't, because
Yep.
if I have to do revisions, that's more work for me, more work for them. They're waiting. And that
Yeah.
happens sometimes. It's not,
It
it's not
happens.
never going
Right.
to happen. It happens. But my first go, I wanted them to be happy. So I always kind of over communicate, ask questions, make sure I'm on the right. If they say, hey, we want you to can you just do this just sitting on your couch with an uncluttered background? So I always I'll sit on my couch, I'll take a picture and I'll say, send it to them. And I say, hey,
Oh,
is this going to be okay for me to film? I just over communicate.
wow.
I want
Oh
to
my
make
God.
sure.
That's
I know.
an amazing idea.
I
That's
want to make
incredible.
sure that they're happy with every part of the video. So anyways, ask all the questions, make sure I understand, and then I start filming. And I make sure you understand, when do they expect this? Sometimes they'll say, can you do this in 3 to 5 days? Or this is due on, March 15th, whatever that might be. I always try to do it ahead of time, even on Fiverr, always try to deliver,
Yes.
ahead of time as much as you can. Sometimes it's out of your control, but always try to deliver ahead of time. They get the video. Hopefully there aren't any revisions, but if there are, I do that, right away and get that sent back once they're happy with everything. Um, and then that's it. Then they say, perfect, send your invoice. I send my invoice, and it could be, I prefer being paid via wire transfer because there aren't any fees. I don't like
ACH.
PayPal. Yeah. I
Okay.
don't like PayPal because of the fees. So I try to
Right.
avoid that, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes that's how they pay. So you got to take a
Okay.
hit on the fees.
How do
Um,
you do the wire transfer? Through what service? Or
I
like
just
Zelle
provide
or
No, them with my bank information. They said,
okay.
okay, can you send over your bank information? So I give them my account, my routing number, my Swift code if it's international, and then they just transfer it in. That's it.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
get a deposit with the contract? Do you work with
No, I
deposits at
do
all?
not.
Have you had
You
any
mean,
issues with not getting a deposit, like getting ghosted?
yeah. Well, one time, yes, one time in the beginning, I know it was it was
Oh.
$360, and I submitted, and it was raw footage, and it was like a ton of raw footage, and I
Oh,
submitted it, and they were
no.
happy. And our Bell, I would see it like when I'd go on their website, I would see my work, and I'm like, man, they didn't even pay me, they didn't pay me for this. I was so upset, but that was just one time. And I think as you gain experience, you kind of know,
You vet the brands before you work with
yeah,
them.
you can kind of know who you trust. And a lot of the
Yeah.
brands come back to you. A lot of the same agencies. I work with a lot of the same agencies who work
Oh,
with
wow.
different brands. So they'll come back to me. So like this
Yeah.
particular agency might work with 5 different brands that I've worked with. I know I can trust them. You
Right.
get to kind of know who you can trust and not trust, who sounds
Right.
shady, who doesn't, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And so and then that's it. And then, they're happy with my work. I send my invoice and then they pay me. And a lot of times it'll be right away. A lot of times it'll be within a few weeks. Sometimes net 30, which means they don't pay for 30 days. Sometimes net 40. I work with a brand from the UK and they pay net 45. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Oh,
that's such a long time.
that's a long time. You're
That's a
like,
long
oh,
time to wait for
I
my money.
I've worked with a couple of those. It's hard. It's hard
Yeah,
to work with them.
it's
With the contract, and I'm gonna get back to the invoicing because I think I have an idea for you, but with the contracts, what is the typical contract look like? Because that scares a lot of people, and including myself.
Mhm.
What exactly are they asking in the contract?
What are the deliverables? What is the agreed upon amount? When do they expect it? It's very wordy and very
Yeah,
legal,
yeah.
but
It can be
you
intimidating. Yeah.
yeah, it could be intimidating, but you kind of know now, like, indemnity and usage rights, and you kind of look for that and make sure that it aligns with what you agreed upon. I've never had an issue with any contracts. I've never had to say, hey, can you change this or that? It's
Okay.
always been, I've never had that issue, but I know what, you kind of know what to look for, and make sure that it's the agreed upon amount and the right deliverables, and when do they expect, when they expect the delivery, and how many revisions do they want? Do they want any? That kind of
Okay.
thing. Um,
Okay. Do they
yeah.
usually ask for perpetual usage rights that they could use the video for as long as they want in an ad? Do you charge more for usage rights? What are your
No.
thoughts on that?
Yes, a lot of times they ask for that, but I just bake it into my rate.
Okay.
I have a rate and all usage rights for me.
Okay.
Other creators do have 30-day usage rights or 60 days. I do not. I don't have I don't want to be like searching and making sure that they're, that they're not using my ad past the 30 days or
Sure.
whatever it is. So I just I bake it into my rate. So when I
Right.
send my rate, I always make sure that they understand this includes all usage rights,
Okay.
because I bake it into my rate.
Okay.
That's
Awesome.
me.
And
Other
exactly.
creators do it differently. Yeah.
I want to point that out. Everybody does it differently, and you really
Hmm.
have to determine what's going to be best for you and your
Yes.
time and your money and your deliverables and all of that. And
Exactly.
I always get a little bit irritated when I see people like, you need to be charging XYZ for this. And it's like, whoa, 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 you're not my boss. I'm a freelancer. I'm going
Exactly.
to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
But there are you could take some tidbits from that. So something that, like, when I first started, I didn't do it. I just did not do any commercial rights. I didn't do any of that. It was just like, here you go. Here's the video. Good to go.
Yeah.
And then as you kind of get going and you see yourself more often, like I have that TV commercial running.
Hmm.
And something that I haven't talked about was that I gave them usage rights for, like, I'm like embarrassed to say, so little, because I didn't know.
You didn't
And now
know.
it's being broadcasted on major networks. People have seen me on Weather
Oh my
Channel,
gosh.
Fox News. And that was it was a lesson, because now I realized, hold on, if they're going to really use this for ad, and people recognize me from this ad in
Hmm.
real life, my
Hmm.
dentist, my girls' teachers,
Oh,
like, I mean, everyone, they're like, are you on TV? And I'm like, oh my God, I should have been paid more for this.
should have,
But we
but
live
you
and we
learn.
learn, and
Yeah.
we're figuring it out. So I do feel like, take the lessons you're learning, just do it, do the
Yes.
work, get it out there. And then as you grow, you'll figure out what kind of additional fees you want to charge. Like
Hmm.
now I charge everybody extra for commercial rights, and I charge everybody extra for ad. So it just
Hmm.
adds to the order amount, but everybody's different,
Exactly.
and there
Yep.
is no one way to do this. Like,
No.
we can learn from each other, but at the end of the day we can do what we want to do and what's best.
Exactly. Hmm.
Something that I was going to actually just kind of give a little tidbit. Are you on QuickBooks? Do you use QuickBooks at all?
No. Do
Okay,
you?
so yes, it is
Oh.
a little pricey. It's like $30 a month, which,
Hmm.
sucks. But what's nice about QuickBooks, instead of giving your bank information, if you wanted to, you could actually send them your invoice or PO, because a lot of brands want to work with a purchase order,
Hmm.
and you can accept payment through QuickBooks using ACH. So they can actually process the
Oh.
payment on QuickBooks without you having to pay a dime.
Interesting.
So yeah, so that
Okay.
way, if you're, looking, and then I think there's also a site called Gusto, and I think Honeybook as well.
Hmm.
But what I like about QuickBooks is that, first of all, it's renowned. I mean, everybody knows about QuickBooks.
Hmm.
Everybody's very familiar with it, but also accountants can gain access to your QuickBooks
Oh.
without having to get, like, you can give them separate accountant access. And so now your accountant can go in and do your taxes. And that's what I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
so
with
that's huge. That's huge.
Yes, yes. So with QuickBooks, I have it linked to my business account. All of
Okay.
the transactions get, automatically updated. I classify where they go for the accountant. So I do my own bookkeeping, very easy to
Hmm.
learn. And then I just reconcile at the end of every month. So at the end of the year, my accountant just goes in, pulls up the reports,
Perfect.
files my taxes. But I can also send invoices through QuickBooks and do the ACH, which is that transfer
Okay.
where you're not paying
Oh,
any
that's
fees.
good to
So
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
just another
Perfect.
idea for you. Okay, going back to kind of our previous conversation, I wanted to kind of work through the entire flow of working outside of Fiverr. With the portfolio, do you feel that you could use that portfolio in Fiverr as well?
Yeah.
Do you link your portfolio in Fiverr is basically what I want to ask.
I have not linked my portfolio in Fiverr, but in my intro video, I do give snippets of my work. So if you look at my intro video, I introduce myself, but I also give them little snippets of my videos so that they can see my work, so they can see, am I comfortable speaking on camera? Do I know how to edit? I made sure that those snippets show the different things that I can do. Speaking on camera, can I edit? Can I uh
Oh,
do I know how to do text and music, that kind of thing. So that
okay.
I do on Fiverr with snip things, work that I've done for my
Okay.
portfolio.
Okay. In your intro video.
In my
So,
intro video, yes.
so I really like that with your portfolio in Canva that you kind of have your best work up front. It may be like more professional looking than just that 1 minute video that you can have in the intro video. So something I wanted to
Hmm.
give you as a tip as well as viewers is that you can actually take that Canva link and put it in your gig description. So in your gig description,
Oh,
you are allowed to have now here's the tricky part though, because you are allowed to have outside portfolio links like Canva, Google Drive, YouTube, but you can't have a personal website link. So I'm wondering if because you have your domain name, if you can
yeah.
create a duplicate portfolio site with the just the Canva
Interesting. And link
URL
that.
and link that.
Oh,
And then just remember that when you update that, when you update the Fiverr one as well,
yes.
because then
Yes.
that gives buyers even more
More.
reason to hire
Yes.
you. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of times people are like, but how do I show all of my work in that 1 minute video?
Yes.
And then the portfolio that rolls is only what buyers allowed to go up there. So we don't have
Hmm.
control over that. So if we have a lot of work that we want to showcase, just put it in a Google Drive, put it, in a Canvas site and just pop that into your gig description so
Interesting.
people can
Into the
see more.
description so they can see more. Yes.
Yes,
Because
yes,
I buyers want to see your work. They want to make
yes,
sure you're the one. They're paying money for this. So they want to
right,
make sure, and I want them to be, confident that when they hire me, they're hiring the right person to represent their brand, right? To represent their
right.
product. That's super cool. I'll
Yes.
look into that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
for the next edit. So, Eileen, we're
Yes.
just going to go ahead and wrap things up with what is your biggest tip for middle-aged UGC creators or middle-aged people that male and female that
Mhm.
want to get started with UGC? What is your biggest tip for them?
So it's fear. If you take fear out of the equation, you can do it. UGC is at first is overwhelming. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's so doable. And I want to encourage, even, as we get older and stuff, it's so nice to have UGC can be full-time or part-time. So if you have a regular 9 to 5, UGC is such a good second stream of income. We all
Yes.
in this economy, we all need to kind of make some more extra money. And I think sometimes people think, well, if I'm going to be a UGC creator, it has to be full-time. No, it doesn't. You can
Mm-mm.
be full-time or it could be part-time. It could be so many creators have a 9 to 5 and still do this part-time and make so much money and make good money. So if you can just take the fear out of the equation, that is really what's going to hold you
Yep.
back. You can learn. It is doable. There are so many free resources on TikTok, on YouTube. With you, Arbel, gives lots of tips on how with content creation. There's so many guides that you can purchase and stuff. There's a lot of information out there that will help you along the way. But it is such a doable, it's not easy, but it's doable. You can learn what you need to learn to be successful. I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm not going to say, well, if I can do it, you can do it. Because that kind of makes it seem like it's easy. It's not, but you can learn it. And once you start doing it and you get the ball rolling, you're like, wow, I can do this. It's going to give you confidence, right? Once you can do
Yes.
edit 2, 3, 4 videos, then you got it and you can do it. And then you can put yourself out there, create your portfolio. And it's going to come. If you are willing to put the work in and
Yep.
learn and invest in yourself, I'm telling you, it changed my life. It changed
Rewarding.
my life. It is
Yes.
so
Yes.
rewarding. It is so awesome and neat. And it gives you such freedom and creativity. And it's just, for me, it just made me like such a better, I'm so much happier. I'm so much happier. And I wish that
I
I could
love
show
that.
other people, older people, you can do this. And we are needed. We are needed.
Yes. Yes.
One of the other creators says you're like a unicorn because, there's not a lot of people out there. And so we are needed. What we can bring to the table, younger creators cannot. We need people who can speak with experience and with life experience. And so um and like I said, not everything that I do is related to age. I do a variety. All kinds of brands need you, for apps, for household items, for all kinds of things. And some, and also for aging, anti-aging, wrinkles, menopause. Yes. So we have like a huge, our
Huge.
pool of brands, our pool is bigger than a 20 or 30-year-old because we
Yep.
can do it all, right? We can do it all. So I just don't be just jump. Take that jump and start. And
Yes.
I'm telling you, it's going to be such a fun experience. And it could be, again, you could do it full time or you can do it part time. You can do it, you can start small and build, and then it can become
Yes.
something that's full time. I love
Exactly.
it. It's just so amazing.
It makes me so happy. It makes me so happy because when you hear life changing, it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But for me too, UGC has
Yes.
truly been life changing.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just from the money perspective, it's from the creative's perspective. And it's from learning something new that you were really afraid of or thought you
Yes.
couldn't do it. And then all of a
Yes.
sudden you're doing it. And
Yes.
there's just this such a rewarding feeling like, oh man, I did
I
that.
did it.
I did that.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yes.
you cannot pay for that feeling,
No.
that it's an amazing feeling. I absolutely love that. Eileen, this has been so, so much fun. I feel like we could talk forever.
Me too.
Serious. This
So
is
fun.
like
Thank you.
so, so fun. For those that are watching and listening, thank you so much for staying till the end. I have linked down below a bunch of different resources. And Eileen, I will go ahead and link your Instagram and Twitter. So
Awesome.
if anybody is interested in getting in contact with Eileen for UGC work or to see what she has done, I'll link that down below. If you like this
Awesome.
video, you want to see more like it, go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and we will be back. Eileen, thank you so, so much. It was an
Thanks,
absolute pleasure.
Ardell. Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a good day.
you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.